My name is Jonathan Hale, and at 35, I'd long since stopped believing in fairy tales. Life in New York had beaten that out of me early. A string of dead-end construction gigs after my folks kicked me out at 17 for being one of those. As my old man put it, his Bible thumping harder than his heart ever did. I'd clawed my way to a decent spot. A cramped walk-up in Williamsburg, a foreman job on high-rises that paid the bills but left my soul dangling from a safety harness. I wasn't looking for love. Hell, I wasn't even looking for company. But Jeremiah? He crashed into my world like a meteor, bright and burning, and nothing's been the same since. It started on a sweltering July afternoon in 2023, the kind where the asphalt shimmers and tempers fray like old wiring. I was nursing a black coffee at that hole-in-the-wall spot on Bedford Avenue, the one with the peeling Formica counters and the best damn apple pie this side of the Hudson. The place was empty except for the hum of the ancient AC unit and the sizzle of bacon from the grill. That's when the door chimed, and in walked this kid, 18, fresh-faced, with sun-bleached curls that caught the light like he'd just stepped off a California beach. He was all limbs and awkward grace, wearing a faded band tee Nirvana, I noted with a smirk, and jeans that hung loose on his skinny frame. He scanned the room, eyes wide and a little lost, like a fawn stumbling into wolf territory. He slid into the booth across from me, uninvited, bold as brass, and flashed a grin that hit me square in the chest. Mind if I join? Everywhere else is packed with tourists snapping selfies with their overpriced lattes. His voice had that easy lilt, Midwestern maybe, laced with a vulnerability that made my guard flicker. Up close, his eyes were this impossible blue, like the summer sky over the Jersey Shore where I'd hidden out as a teen, dreaming of escape. I chuckled, despite myself. Free country, kid. But if you're expecting conversation, I'm fresh out. I was lying, of course. Something about him pulled at me. The way he fidgeted with a silver ring on his thumb, engraved with a tiny cross that didn't quite match the rebellion in his posture. He didn't take the hint. Jeremiah just moved here from Ohio, chasing ghosts or something poetic like that. He stuck out his hand, and when I shook it, his grip was firm. Calloused from what? Guitar strings? Manual labor? And you? You look like you've got stories etched into those laugh lines. Jonathan, I said, pulling back a touch too quick. Stories? Yeah, a few. Most of 'em end with a hangover or a pink slip. We talked then, easy as breathing. He was starting at NYU in the fall film studies, he said, with stars in his eyes about directing indie flicks that actually mean something. Grew up in a strict Baptist family in Cincinnati. The youngest of 4 brothers, all straight as arrows except for the whispers he'd buried deep. They don't know, he admitted over his milkshake, stirring the cherry around like it was a confession. About me, I mean, liking guys. It's like this secret bomb ticking in my chest. I should have walked away right there. 35 to his 18, 17 years that yawned like a chasm. But his honesty cracked something in me. A wall I'd built brick by bitter brick. By the time the waitress refilled our coffees, we'd swapped numbers, and he was promising to show me his secret spot in Prospect Park where the willows hung low and the world felt a million miles away. That first hangout sealed it. Prospect Park on a golden August evening. The air thick with the scent of grilled hot dogs from distant vendors and the distant thrum of the city. Jeremiah led me to a hidden grove off the long meadow, where the grass was wild and the trees formed a natural cathedral. He flopped down, cross-legged, and pulled out a battered acoustic guitar from his backpack. "Watch this," he said, and strummed a melody that was half folk lament, half rock anthem. Something he'd written about running from shadows that look like home. I sat there, mesmerized, the sun dipping low and painting his face in hues of amber and rose. When he finished, he looked at me, not with the cocky grin from the diner, but with a raw hunger that mirrored my own buried ache. "What do you think?" he asked, voice soft. "It's beautiful," I murmured, and meant it, for the song, for him, for this fragile bubble we'd stumbled into. Our hands brushed as he set the guitar aside, and neither of us pulled away. That touch lingered, electric, a promise unspoken. We talked till the stars pricked the sky. About my ex, a bartender who'd ghosted me after 5 years because the age thing's weird, John. About his high school crushes, stolen glances in locker rooms that left him hollow. By midnight, as fireflies danced like tiny confessions, he leaned in, hesitant, and our lips met, soft, tentative, tasting of cherry chapstick and possibility. It was innocent, that first kiss. No fireworks, just a quiet unraveling. But it ignited something fierce in us both. Over the next weeks, we carved out stolen moments. Late-night walks along the East River, where the skyline glittered like a taunt. Picnics in the park with PB&J sandwiches and dreams swapped like trading cards. Jeremiah was a whirlwind. Passionate rants about queer icons like James Baldwin. Sketches of film scenes scribbled on napkins that featured brooding anti-heroes who looked suspiciously like me. I was the anchor, steady and scarred, teaching him the city's underbelly. The best falafel truck in Queens. The quiet bars in the village where drag queens spun truths into glitter. But cracks formed early. His phone would buzz with texts from Mom, laced with Bible verses about wandering paths. He'd silence them, but I'd see the shadow cross his face, the way he'd curl into me later, whispering, "What if they hate me?" I'd hold him then, my arms a fortress against the world, murmuring assurances I half believed. Love like this? It's worth the fight. Fall hit, and with it, his freshman year. NYU swallowed him whole. Lectures till dusk. Group projects with pretentious kids from LA who eyed me sideways when I picked him up from campus. "Who's the old guy?" One sneered once, loud enough to sting. Jeremiah laughed it off, but I felt the age gap widen. A silent intruder in our bed, which was just my lumpy couch. Really, but it felt like a palace those nights he snuck over. One crisp October evening, after a screening of his first student short, a gritty tale of a boy escaping small-town bigotry, we celebrated at a dive bar in the East Village. Beers flowed, laughter easy, until his brother called. Caleb, the golden child back in Ohio, all Marine buzzcut and unyielding faith. Jeremiah stepped outside, but I caught fragments. "No, it's not like that. Yeah, I have friends. Please, just tell Mom I'm fine." When he returned, his eyes were red-rimmed, smile forced. "Family drama," he shrugged, but I pressed gently. "It's me, isn't it?" I said, the bar's neon buzzing like doubt in my veins. "They sense something's off." He shook his head, fierce. "It's them, John. Always them. But us? We're real." He kissed me then, right there in the dim booth, defiant and deep, as if to seal a pact against the gathering storm. Little did I know, the storm was already breaking. As Thanksgiving loomed, the air grew thick with unspoken fears. Jeremiah's invites home were laced with ultimatums. Come alone, or don't come. He agonized over it in my apartment, pacing the creaky floors while I brewed tea that tasted like regret. "I could lie," he said, collapsing onto the couch, head in my lap. "Say you're just a roommate. But God, John, it feels like betrayal." "Don't," I replied, stroking his hair, the curls soft as sin. "Be you. The rest will follow." Hypocrite, I thought me who'd spent years hiding in plain sight on job sites, trading bro jokes to deflect the obvious. He went home, promising daily calls. The first few were sunshine. "Mom's pie is killer, but it ain't you." Then silence stretched 2 days, 3. On the 4th, my phone lit up at 2 a.m. "We need to talk. Meet me at the diner. Now." Heart in my throat, I threw on clothes and hailed a cab through the pre-dawn chill. The diner glowed like a beacon of bad news, empty save for Jeremiah in our booth, face pale as milk. "They found the texts," he blurted when I sat, voice a ghost of itself. "Caleb went through my phone. Called you. Everything. The devil's temptation."
I'm sorry, Jon.
"They want me to cut you out, or they'll disown me." The world tilted. I reached for his hand, but he pulled back, eyes darting like a cornered animal. "What do you want?" I asked, voice steady as rebar. He sobbed then, shoulders shaking. "You, but I can't lose them. Not yet." We sat there till dawn, words tumbling like debris. Apologies? Please, the brutal math of love versus blood. By sunrise, he'd decided to stay, but distant. Just for now, he promised. Till I can stand on my own. It was a bandage on a bullet wound. We limped on, meetings snatched in shadows. Quick coffees, park benches at odd hours. But the distance festered. His laughs grew forced, touches hesitant. I buried myself in work, scaling scaffolds till my muscles screamed. Anything to drown the gnawing fear that we'd already lost. Winter clamped down, snow blanketing the city in indifferent white. Christmas Eve, he showed up at my door unannounced, cheeks flushed from the cold. A small pine in a pot clutched in his arms. Merry whatever, he grinned, that old spark flickering. We decorated it with dollar store ornaments, string lights tangled like our hearts, and for a night, it was magic, eggnog spiked with rum. His head on my shoulder as we watched It's a Wonderful Life on my ancient TV. But come New Year's, the call came. His voice, muffled and frantic. John, they're sending me to conversion camp. Dad's ultimatum. I leave tomorrow. Panic surged, hot and helpless. I raced to his dorm, but he was gone. Packed bag, note on the pillow. I love you. This isn't goodbye. Wait for me. Weeks blurred into agony. Letters smuggled out via a sympathetic RA painted hell. Group prayers that shamed. Therapists who gaslit. They say it's a phase, he wrote, ink smudged with tears. But you're my truth. I wrote back, pouring my soul onto pages yellowed with diner napkins. Memories of his laugh, promises of a future untethered. Spring thawed the ice, and with it his escape. A midnight bus from some nowhere town in Pennsylvania, straight to my doorstep. He looked gaunt, eyes haunted, but when I pulled him inside, he clung like a lifeline. I'm free, he whispered, and I'm yours. We rebuilt, fierce and fragile. Summer brought lazy days on Coney Island beaches, his sketches turning to scripts with us as heroes. He came out to a few friends, tentative, triumphant. I introduced him to my crew, grizzled guys who'd nod approvingly. Kids got heart. For a moment it felt possible, a life woven from our threads. But betrayal brews in the quiet hours. One humid August night, as cicadas droned outside my window, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Ask Jeremiah about Caleb's visit last month. My stomach dropped. Caleb, the brother, the enforcer. What visit? The text stared back at me like an accusation carved in glass. The screen's glow casting shadows that danced like accusations in the dim light of my bedroom. Jeremiah slept beside me, chest rising and falling in the peaceful rhythm of exhaustion. His curls splayed across the pillow like a halo I no longer trusted. Caleb's visit? Last month, he'd said he was buried in finals, crashing at a study buddy's in Queens. Lies plural stacking up like unpaid bills. I slipped from the sheets, heart hammering a traitor's march, and padded to the kitchen. The apartment was a tomb of takeout containers and half-read scripts, the air stale with unspoken doubts. My fingers trembled as I typed back, "Who is this?" Minutes stretched eternal. Then, a friend. Check his email. Family emergency thread. For his sake. Jeremiah's laptop sat on the rickety table, password protected with our inside joke, Brooklyn Beat. A nod to that first diner meet. Guilt clawed at me as I logged in, the chime of opening apps a Judas kiss. His inbox yawned open, a digital Pandora's box. There it was, family emergency, timestamped mid-June, the week he'd vanished for studying. I clicked, breath shallow. Caleb's email first. Dad's had a heart scare. Come home now.
No excuses.
And leave that pervert behind. I've got dirt that'll bury him. Attached. Screenshots. My stomach lurched. Photos from my Insta. Nothing damning. Just me at a pride rally years back. Arm around an ex, rainbow flag waving. But blurred in the background? A work site, my crew's logo's clear. Caleb's threat. One call to his boss and he's done.
Semper Fi, bro.
Jeremiah's reply, please, Cal. Don't. John's good. We're good. Then, a chain. Caleb pushing, Jeremiah buckling.
Fine.
I'll come. But keep it quiet. No drama. Followed by train tickets, a motel receipt in Cincinnati. And the kicker, an exchange. Meet me at the station. We talk this out. Caleb, one condition. Ditch him for good, or I send the pics. My vision blurred. Hot tears tracking silent paths down my cheeks. Betrayal? No, worse. Sacrifice in secret. A knife he wielded to protect me, twisting deeper for it. Why hide it?
Pride?
Shame? Or was there more? A fracture I hadn't seen? Dawn crept in, gray and unforgiving, as Jeremiah stirred. John? What's wrong? He sat up, rubbing sleep from his eyes, but I thrust the laptop at him, screen damning. You went to him, I said, voice raw gravel. Behind my back. For how long have you been playing both sides? His face crumpled, color draining like sand through fingers. John, wait. It's not. He reached, but I recoiled, the chasm between us widening to abyss. Tell me, I demanded, pacing the tiny space like a caged wolf. Caleb threatens my job, my life here, and you jet off to negotiate like I'm some dirty secret to be scrubbed clean? Tears welled in those blue eyes, spilling over. I had to, Dad's sick, Cal said. And the pics. God, John, you'd lose everything. I couldn't let that happen. He stood, arms outstretched, a supplicant in his boxers and faded tee.
Ito calno.
Flat out, that I'd fight for us. He backed off, sort of, promised to delete them if I kept my distance from home. The room spun. Fight for us? Yet he'd lied, the omission a poison pill. Distance from home, I echoed, bitter. But not for me? You came back, all smiles and sketches, while this ate you alive. How's that love, Jeremiah? How's that trust? He sank to the floor, knees to chest, sobs racking his frame.
I'm sorry.
So damn sorry. I thought I could handle it alone. Like a man, you know? Prove I wasn't the weak kid you rescued. His voice cracked, Midwestern lilt fracturing. But I am weak. Without you, I am. I wanted to rage, to hurl the betrayal back like shrapnel. But seeing him there, shattered, small, something in me softened, a reluctant tide. 35 years had taught me grudges rot the holder. But forgiveness? That was a leap, blind and terrifying. We can't build on lies, I said finally, sinking beside him, our shoulders brushing like wary allies. No more secrets. Ever. He nodded, fervent, lacing his fingers through mine. No more. I swear on that stupid guitar you hate. We held there, on the cold linoleum, as the city woke to honks and sirens. A fragile truce forged in dawn's indifferent light. But peace is fleeting in love's coliseum. The next days were a tightrope. Tentative coffees where we dissect the wound. Laughter bubbling up like forgiveness' first breath. He showed me the full emails, Caleb's vitriol a venomous script from a bad family drama. He's scared, Jeremiah explained over falafel wraps in the park. Autumn leaves crunching underfoot. For Dad. For the family name. But he's thawing. Sent me a congrats on my short film last week. I grunted, skeptical. Thawing Marines don't melt easy. Yet I saw the hope in him, that unscarred optimism I'd envied from day one, and it chipped at my walls. We dove back in deeper even. He dragged me to his film class screenings, where I'd sit in the back, anonymous in the dark, swelling with pride as his name flickered on the credits. Queer Shadows, one was called, a vignette of hidden touches in a conservative town, echoes of his own ghosts. Afterward, in the hallway, classmates clapped him on the back. Dude, that hit hard. And when his eyes found mine shining, it felt like victory. October brought Indian summer, a last gasp of warmth before the chill. We escaped to the Hudson Valley for a weekend. My old pickup rattling up winding roads lined with fiery maples. A borrowed cabin from a work buddy. Log walls, stone fireplace. No cell service to haunt us. We hiked trails slick with fallen leaves. Jeremiah chattering about Hitchcock twists he wanted to steal for his thesis. At a overlook, wind whipping our scarves, he dropped to one knee. Not proposal but play. grinning up with an acorn ring. "Marry me?" he teased. "Or at least, stick around for the credits." I pulled him up, kissing him fierce against the roar of the river below. "Credits? Kid, this is the whole damn reel." That night, fire crackling, we shared stories unvarnished. My first love, a summer fling at 18 that ended in a black eye from the guy's father. His hidden journals from Ohio, pages inked with longing for boys who'd never look back. Vulnerability bound us tighter, a rope bridge over the age gap's gorge. Back in the city, though, shadows lengthened. Caleb's thaw proved illusory. A package arrived at Jeremiah's dorm. Bible tracts on healing the broken. Anonymous but reeking of fraternal spite. Then calls from his mom, voice quivering. "Come home for Thanksgiving, honey. We miss you." Alone. Jeremiah fielded them with growing steel, but each chipped at him, leaving bruises invisible to all but me. The breaking point came mid-November. Rain lashing the windows like accusations renewed. We'd planned a quiet dinner, roast chicken, his attempt at mom's recipe, in my apartment turned sanctuary with string lights and his sketches pinned to walls. But as I chopped onions, tears blurring my knife work, my phone rang. Work. The foreman gig? On the line. Hale got a complaint. Some Ohio plate been sniffing around the site, asking questions about your personal life. HR's involved. Clean it up or you're out. The knife slipped, nicking my thumb, blood welling like truth. Caleb. The dirt, the pics. Jeremiah walked in then, flour dusted from pie crust, smile fading at my face. "John? What's? Your brother's gunning for me?" I snarled, bandaging hasty. "Site visit? That's him. And now my job's collateral." He paled, pie tin clattering to the counter.
No.
He promised. After the emails, but doubt flickered, a storm cloud crossing his sun. Promises from zealots? I laughed, hollow. "Kid, wake up. You're choosing ghosts over flesh and blood." He recoiled as if slapped. "That's not fair. I'm fighting." "For what?" "Afferitale." The words escaped, venom born of fear. Silence crashed, heavier than the rain. He grabbed his coat, eyes blazing. "Maybe it is. But if you can't see that, Jonathan, then what are we?" The door slammed, echo mocking. Alone, I sank to the floor, chicken forgotten, the apartment echoing with the void he'd left. Betrayal's echo chamber, where love's roar fades to whispers. Days bled into a week of radio silence. I haunted the diner, our booth of vigil, nursing coffees gone cold. Work suspended me pending investigation. The crew's side eyes like barbs. Sleepless nights, I scrolled his socials, posts of film sets, forced smiles, no mentions of us. Was it over? The age, the family, the city's grind, too much weight for his young shoulders? Then the ex-post, from his handle, time-stamped 3 a.m. A black and white photo of the Brooklyn Bridge at fog-shrouded dawn. Caption: "Bridges burn easy. Some are worth the ashes. Queer and tired." My heart seized. I bolted out, cab to the bridge, rain slicking the paths. There, midway across, he stood, silhouette against the lights, shoulders hunched against the gale. "Jeremiah!" I yelled over the wind, closing the distance. He turned, face streaked, resolve cracking. "John!" he choked. Cal called, confessed. The sight thing was a bluff, his last shot to scare me straight. But it worked. On me. I doubted us. I cupped his face, thumbs brushing tears. Doubt's the thief, but love, it fights back. We clung there, bridge swaying beneath, as first light pierced the clouds, a fragile dawn. Reconciliation isn't a straight line. It's a zigzag through minefields, each step testing if the ground will hold. After the bridge, Jeremiah and I patched what we could. Therapy sessions squeezed between his classes and my reinstated shifts. A queer counselor in Chelsea who called our story a masterclass in resilience. We laughed at that, tentative over her chamomile tea. But it stuck. Resilience. That's what we chased. Not perfection, but the grit to weather the gales. Thanksgiving arrived like an uninvited guest. turkey-scented tension in the air. Jeremiah's invite home hung unspoken, a specter at our makeshift feast. Takeout from a soul food joint in Harlem, collards and cornbread piled high on my coffee table. To new traditions, he toasted with ginger ale, clinking my glass, his smile real but edged with ache. New traditions? I echoed, but my mind wandered to my own ghosts. No family left, just echoes of Christmases passed in Jersey diners, alone with a beer and regrets. He sensed it, squeezing my knee under the table. Next year, he murmured. We host. Invite the crew, your film nerds. Make it ours. That ours warmed me deeper than the food. A seed of future planted in Holiday Hollow's December blurred into a whirlwind. His thesis screening, a raw cut of echoes unseen. Our story, veiled in fiction. A young artist torn between heritage and heart. The auditorium buzzed post-credits. Profs nodding approval. Peers whispering, genius. Backstage, he crashed into my arms, whispering, that's us, John. We made it through the cut. Pride swelled, mingled with terror. The film hinted too close. Ohio accents in the dialogue. A lover's age etched in weary lines. What if they see? He fretted later, pacing my living room as snow flurried outside. Then they see truth, I said, pulling him close. And truth sets free. But freedom's price loomed. Caleb emailed, not threats this time, but a white flag. Saw Jer's post about the screening. Looks pro. Tell him. Dad's asking about him.
Doors open. No strings.
Attached. A family photo. Dad frail in a hospital gown. Mom's smile tentative. Jeremiah stared. Screen reflected in his eyes like a mirror to the past. It's a trap, he said, but voice wavered. Or a chance. The dilemma festered, holiday lights mocking our stalemate. New Year's Eve, we joined the village throng. Queer revelers in glitter and grit, confetti cannons bursting like hopes. A kiss at midnight, under the ball drops echo on TV screens citywide, felt like renewal. But as fireworks painted the sky, his phone vibrated. Mom. Please, Jeremiah. Just visit. For Dad. He silenced it, but the seed sprouted doubt. January brought resolutions cracked by reality. My promotion to site supervisor, steady pay for the first time in years, but longer hours scaling Manhattan's steel spines. Jeremiah's internship at an indie studio, late nights editing reels that left him zombie-eyed and distant. We collided in exhaustion, arguments sparking over trivial, forgotten laundry, whose turn for dishes. You're pulling away. I'd accuse and he'd fire back. You're always gone. The fracture widened in February. Valentine's a battlefield. I'd planned simple reservations at that Italian spot in Little Italy, candlelight and cannoli. But he canceled last minute. Dad's worse. Cal called. I have to go. Alone at the table. Red rose wilting in a vase. I nursed Chianti and nursed wounds. Betrayal's sequel? Or duty's call? He returned 3 days later, hollow-cheeked, bearing hospital jello cups like peace offerings. It was bad, he confessed over lukewarm takeout. Dad's heart docs say months, maybe. They didn't mention you. Acted like you don't exist. His voice broke. But I do. For you. We made love to words that night. Not bodies, but souls bared. Apologies woven with affections. Rebuilding brick by vulnerable brick. March bloomed tentative. Cherry blossoms in the park mirroring our thaw. He introduced me to his prof, a silver-haired dyke with a no-nonsense nod. Treat him right, Hale. He's gold. I swelled, belonging in his world. Not just a shadow, but climax crests unbidden. Late April, rain-slicked and relentless. The call came at 4 a.m. Caleb. Dad's gone, Jahart gave out. Get home. Jeremiah shattered. Sobs that rent the night. My arms his only anchor as he rocked, keening like a wound animal. I should have gone sooner, he gasped. Made peace. You did? I soothed, stroking his back. In your way. That's enough. The funeral was a gauntlet. Ohio's flatlands gray and grieving, Baptist church stiff with starched collars and sidelong stairs. I stayed in a motel, uninvited specter, but Jeremiah snuck out post-service, collapsing into my rented Chevy. They said prayers for his soul, he whispered, makeup streaked from tears. Mentioned straying paths. But Cal, he hugged me, said Dad loved me always. Relief warred with rage in my chest. And you? What did you say? Told him I'm gay. With a man who saved me. He met my eyes, fierce. You, John. Every time. The drive back was catharsis. Windows down, wind whipping grief away, Springsteen blasting anthems of blue-collar survival. Thunder Road. Our song, Jeremiah singing off-key, hand in mine over the gearshift. We're thunder now, he laughed. First real one in weeks. Summer scorched in, our love tempered like steel in fire. His thesis rapped, echoes unseen earned accolades. A festival nod in Tribeca. We celebrated on the rooftop of my building. City sprawl at our feet. Cheap champagne bubbling like joy. To 35 and 18, he toasted, clinking my plastic flute. The years don't matter. The moments do. I pulled him close, skyline twinkling complicit. That moment on the bridge changed everything. Made me believe. He smiled soft. Me too. In us. In fighting for what's human. Betrayal scars faded to stories. Fuel for his scripts. Wisdom for my quieter days. Caleb drifted into uneasy allyship. Emails about neutral ground visits. Mom sent care packages. Cookies, no sermons. Family fractured but mending. By fall, as leaves turned again, Jeremiah landed a junior editor gig at a streaming outfit. Real money, real stakes. I eyed apartments uptown, space for two, dreams no longer borrowed. Our real, he called it, sketching floor plans on napkins. One crisp evening in Prospect Park. That secret grove, willows whispering. We sat, guitar idle in his lap. Remember this spot? He asked, head on my shoulder. First kiss, I murmured. First everything. He turned, eyes blue as ever, but deeper now, etched with our shared storms. Marry me? For real. Not acorns. Rings, vows, the works. My heart stuttered, 35 years of caution yielding to yes. Yeah, kid. Hell yes. We kissed as dusk fell. The world no longer chasm but bridge, sturdy, spanned by love's defiant arc. In America's sprawl, where dreams clash and conform, we'd carved ours. Humanistic, hard-won, eternal. The moment that changed us? It wasn't the rain-soaked alley or the bridge's edge. It was every after, the choices that said, despite the odds we're here, together. And that's the story worth telling.